Hello and welcome to this episode of Demystifying DAX with me, James from Matador Software. Today we're going to look at, in simple terms, how we can create a calendar table within Power BI using DAX. We could use Power Query and there's pros and cons to each side, but we'll focus on DAX and really it's whatever you're comfortable in. So why create a calendar table? Well, this is essential for time intelligence functionality, and we'll look at that, and hopefully this will become more apparent as we move forward within this video. So let's look at the Microsoft documentation. We have two options, Calendar Auto and the calendar function. Calendar Auto is more restrictive and more automated, as we see in the remarks. It's going to look through our data model and any dates that are present, and it's going to take a base date, and it will take the start of the year from the first date that we reference, and it will move through to the end of the year, so the end of December for the last date referenced within our data model. Now, we'll look more into the calendar functionality. It's much more flexible. We specify, as we see in the examples, a start date and an end date, but we can use the add columns function within DAX to really power up the information that we show. And there's great functionality present there. The first thing we need to do is navigate to the extreme left of our dashboard and go into the data and the modeling pane. And we can click on Table Tools and click New Table. So if we're using the Calendar Auto function, like we described through the Microsoft documentation, very simple. We just simply use this Calendar Auto syntax, and it will navigate through our model and create the relevant dates. As we said, we want a more flexible approach, so we'll use the same process. We'll create a new table, and we'll go through this DAX code, and we'll explain what's happening. So instead of just simply using calendar, we'll use add columns, because as well as creating this date view that we saw in the Calendar Auto, we will choose to add some extra columns on based on those dates. And the first one that we're going to add is year. So obviously an important column that we'd want to see present, the year of the corresponding date. If we move through now, we're going to add the month number. Now, what I mean by month number is the integer value that the month would represent. So January would be 1, December would be 12, and so on. And the syntax here is pretty clear. We're using the format function, the date within there, and what we're saying is give us that month number with two integers, so 01, 02, and so on. Now, the month name, there's two options we have here. We have a shortened version. So if we use 3 string characters, so MMM, we'll get a 3-letter abbreviation of the month. And if we want to see a longer version of our month name, we can use 4 characters, so 4 M's, and this will give us the full name of our month. So January or February rather than Jan or Feb. Interestingly, when we add the quarter, we have to think that the quarter again will return an integer value between 1 and 4. So we can append a Q on so that we see Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and the syntax is pretty clear. We have the Q, we don't need to worry about a space, and we use the ampersand to merge those or concatenate those together. And lastly, if we want to see the day of the week, again, we'll see the full day of the week. We'll add those 4 letters, and we should be ready to go. As you see here, everything looks present and correct as per what we thought. We can see that shortened month name, the full name, the day of the week, the quarter is correctly formatted, so it looks pretty good to me, and looks like we've got a reliable calendar table within our structure here. So the last thing that we need to do is go ahead and add the relationship, because we didn't import this with the rest of our data. The shipping data and date table need a relationship between them in order for the information to sync. So very simple here. We'll select the date table and the shipping data. We want the common ground, which is the dates. I will change the cardinality here to optimize how this works. So we'll use a one-to-many cardinality. And there we go. We can click OK. And if we go ahead now and bring this into the dashboard, we should see this working within our table visual. So we see that everything connects as we expected. We can play around just to prove that this has worked and show, shipments between certain dates, or we can show shipments in 2020 or the same year. But yeah, this was more just to demonstrate that it worked. But now we can see we added all this extra information into a calendar date table. So we could now go in and analyze things further, use time intelligence, year-on-year data. If we had large data sets, we could analyze performance on Saturdays. We included that weekday name, and we can really start to get insights from our data. As usual, if you enjoyed this content, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you.